Hi, my name is Christian McMahon. I'm the Group CIO of a company called GoIndustry DoveBid, which sells industrial assets via a website, e-commerce based website, very similar to eBay, but it sells industrial assets.
Christian, thank you for coming in today. One of the concerns we see around IT and communications in a lot of growing businesses is about security and risk. There's a lack of understanding, if you like, about the challenges they face, and obviously it's a great concern. From a CIO's perspective, many years' experience in managed IT systems for companies, what for you are the priority issues from a security perspective?
From an infrastructure perspective, you're looking at safeguarding your data. Your data are your gems. So anybody can walk out of a building nowadays with a BlackBerry or a smartphone or a laptop or a memory stick. And I think it's quite frightening how many people actually leave the building with your valuable data on a device. I went to a conference once where a guy did a presentation, and at the front of the presentation he sat there with his laptop, and at the end he said, anybody who wants a copy of the presentation, please come down and I'll give you a copy on a memory stick. And many people rushed to the front, and I kind of twigged very quickly. And 20, 30 CIOs, IT directors and rather large companies went down to the front and gave him a memory stick. 20 minutes later the guy said, I've probably got all of your corporate data on my laptop now, strategic plans, governance issues, presentations, shareholder issues. And that was the first sign for me that you could be tricked by anybody at any stage to handing over a piece of equipment, to handing over a memory stick. So I think it's about securing data at the site, making it harder and harder for people to take data from your premises and to email data out to other people.
The laptop question has come up before, and I was just wondering, how do you deal with that now? I mean, do you look at encryption and stuff?
I think encryption is key. I think that we have looked at various issues, such as making sort of a no data device on a laptop, like a netbook, and then just having a straight VPN for your data. People then sort of say, I must have access to my data, I must have it locally. And I say, well, take a presentation. There's no reason why people should carry all of the data around on a laptop. I think it's a matter of personal security. People think to have all the data close to them, but it's very, very misleading and dangerous for a company to allow such access to leave the building.
So obviously the escape, if you like, of data, either maliciously or accidentally, is one key area. Other areas that you see as the priority from security perspective?
Yes, you have to have firewalls. You have to be careful what people are browsing on the web. I don't think draconian measures such as banning websites really change the pitch, apart from upsetting users. I think if people say you ban Facebook and LinkedIn and all these other types of personal sort of social networking sites, it's dangerous for morale. I think you just have to have a very good, stringent information management policy that you sort of get people to buy into and understand. You know, you have people coming into the building now, which are sort of generation X, Y, etc., who say, I want to be able to do this, I want to be able to do that. And I think you have to get them to understand why they can't do that, why you can't put your data into a cloud where they can get private access to, which is actually public, but they think, oh, everybody's okay, they won't share it.
So do you see a role as much an educational role in some ways with users as it is about technical?
Absolutely. I think if you have a good stringent information management policy that people can understand and appreciate, you've won most of the battle. I think if you say to people you're just banning X, Y, Z, is dangerous. Executable files, I think, are dangerous anyway. You need to lock down a desktop. You know, you have to stop, unfortunately, people installing software onto a laptop or a PC. It can be dangerous and it can affect a whole network, not just that single individual. So I think a policy of encrypted VPNs between offices, stringent information management policy, strong lockdown on the desktop, and an understanding with your staff works quite well in parallel.
And one final question, are there any areas in security that you can look for in terms of cost cutting and saving, or is security one of those areas where you really need to keep
I think with security you can do two ways. If you're a larger site, you could outsource that security management. There's a large number of companies that do outsource security. I've personally done it. I've done it in-house as well. They then patch your firewalls, keep everything up to date. You then have to manage your antivirus, etc. internally onto the desktop client, but they would manage all the communication, VPN, encryption, etc. through the different sites. But if you do it yourself, it's a large overhead on people. Security people aren't cheap, and security people are only really worth their money if you've got a big site for them to support. And you have the holiday factor, so you have to have 1, 2, maybe 3 people to support your whole enterprise.
So you need to look at the provision from a holistic point of view.
Absolutely. You know, you can't have, if somebody's working on a particular issue, such as a security breach in an office in Malaysia, and you have an issue in America, they're both important issues. If somebody's reconfiguring routers, you need to understand they're doing it properly. So you need to test everything that an IT infrastructure lead will do as well. You can't rely on an IT infrastructure team patching everything behind them, even though they're doing their portion of the work well. So I think security is not just about making sure it looks okay, you've got to make sure it runs holistically behind the scenes and is a sort of a broom behind everything you do to make sure everything's swept up and secure.